Today we are going to look at the European invasion of Africa. So today we are going to look at how these Europeans invaded Africa and how the Africans themselves reacted to this European invasion. So the European interest of Africa believed before 1900 were on. So why did these Europeans decided to invade Africa? So why? So one is exploration. They wanted to explore Africa. That's why they come to invade Africa. Then two is trade. These Europeans wanted to trade with African communities. So they decided to go to Africa and invade Africa. We have religion. These Europeans wanted to spread Christianity. So Europeans wanted to spread Christianity so that they can invade Africa. We have a spirit of adventure. So on this spirit of adventure, these Europeans wanted to explore more the world. So they wanted to see the horizon of the world. So they decided to come to Africa to invade as a form of exploring the adventure. Again, we see rivalry. You see, most of the European countries, like France, those European countries, Portugal, Greece, Britain, and Holland, wanted new territories. You see, these European countries, most of them wanted to get new territories from which they can expand their land. So these are some of the reasons why these Europeans invaded Africa. Now let's move on and look at the scramble and partition of Africa. So what comes into your mind when you hear the word scramble and partitioning of Africa? So scramble and partitioning of Africa simply means the struggle or the rush for, and partition means dividing. So this word scramble and partitioning of Africa mean the rush for the Europeans and dividing of the African continent. Now, what are the reasons for the scramble? Why did these European nations came to Africa to fight for the continent? So they are divided into three major subgroups. We have economic reasons, social reasons, and political reasons. So we have some of the economic reasons that they wanted to obtain raw materials for their industries back in the European nations. They also wanted to promote legitimate trade. So these European nations wanted to promote legitimate trade. We also have social reasons, spread of Christianity and civilized Africans. Political reasons, we have extreme nationalism, military adventure. So on military adventure, we see that these European nations had stronger military powers than Africa. So they knew that when they came to Africa, they will obviously win the fight. So we have ways which the Europeans partition Africa. So which ways did these Europeans used to partition Africa? You see, one is just military conquest. You see, these European nations had strong armies that they could easily fight the European armies, the African armies. So we also see that we have signing treaties. So the Europeans signed treaties with the Africans, the African leaders, for them to make easy penetration to the African continent. Invasion the African leaders. So they invaded African leaders and conquered them. They have treachery and cunning. You see, these Europeans treat Africans and they just took their land easily. They have the Berlin Conference. So this conference was made for the was made in the Berlin, that is found in Germany. So this conflict is held in order for the Europeans to make arrangements on how they could partition this African land. So now, what are the results of this African scramble to the African continent? So one, introduction of new language. These Europeans introduced their language in Africa as they mingled with African communities. We have undermining African culture. These Europeans saw their culture as more advanced and more valuable than African culture. So they undermine African culture and practice their own culture. We see new European administration methods. So these Europeans introduced their methods of administration to Africa. We also have discovery of new boundaries were drawn over this. So new boundaries, like this African continent was divided into portions, which created animosity or disputes among the African communities. We also see that African countries maintained ties. So the African countries maintained ties in that we see that countries like Kenya and Tanzania, they are friends since they were colonized by Europeans. African direction. Now let's move on and see how these African communities reacted to the European invasion. So these Africans reacted in two major ways.